being here. You want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Matthew Lucas. I'm the director of Old Ranchos.
And a writer.
I'm Natalie Berger. Nice meeting you. I'm an actress playing Siren.
Hi guys, I'm Aulio Ivan. I am the man that was in multiple dimensions in there.
You were the victim.
The victim, the aggressor,
Well, a lot of stories.
the lover.
Full disclaimer, this is Matt Lucas's third time with us, I think.
Oh my God.
Or no, the Sci-Fi one short you just showed me. But
Yeah, I
it
don't
was
remember.
before.
Crinkle Time for short, the feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Crinkle Time
Yeah.
and now this.
Maybe there was another one in there. I don't know.
But no, but your Sci-Fi one,
Moonshot.
Moonshot.
Yeah.
I've seen.
Because it's
I've
on
seen.
because it's on the platform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we have history, so whenever there's history, the Q&A goes off the rails. So, that said, I want to say that this is just a great film, and thoroughly enjoyable, and I have so many questions. But the first is, what was the inspiration? What got you started? Did you want to, I know you as someone who is a very creative writer and likes to really experiment. Did you want to do something? Did you want to do Old West sci-fi? Was that the original idea, or what got you started on this one?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to do a Western. I'm newish to California. I moved here in 2020 in the middle of the pandemic. And I don't know, part of the romanticism of, being around the mountains and just being in a new environment and around the kind of general movie culture. I was kind of like, yeah, let me try something that has a kind of a classical feel to it. So that's probably where it started. Maybe, oh good, we have Jay. Jay Krymis, everybody. Running with the
You actually went to the bar, not the
Oh,
restaurant.
yeah, that's why you're out of breath. You chugged
Which
three
is
more beers
excellent.
on the way over there, right? The other thing is that, so weirdly, when I was living in DC, I did a lot of work in like government and military training and things like this. So I made a lot of training films for the military and some very dry stuff. And one of the big projects I worked on was like a police training film about inherent bias that like police have. And I was struck by this, like the blink reaction that we sort of, that they train police officers to basically be like, listen, hey, you have biases, you might fire on somebody that doesn't deserve to be fired on, basically. And there's really only so much you can do to override your brain's like inherent position on that. So you take this training to learn how to kind of like slow your reaction time down and make the right decision. That's sort of what this training was about. But I was fascinated by this idea that like, there are people out there who call the cops because their neighbor looks different from them. Like that's just it. In their brain, they have like a reason for that, but it's false. It's not an actual thing. And so, I don't know, since making that project, I've been kind of interested in that idea. And that's sort of what I was trying to explore with this, was like, neighbor, oh, there's a dead body over there in that barn. She doesn't take the time to ask herself, is he a butcher? Is it an innocent thing? It's just, somebody, I'm scared of that guy. Somebody go fix it, right? And that's, to me, that's sort of what the movie's about, is like, was that the right response, And when you've committed that crime, let's say, the seduction of being able to rewrite your own memory of it is sort of a very interesting concept to me. So yeah, all those things I was trying to explore.
So that's how you ended up, I mean, because it when it starts, you really take us on a journey. It's basically a roller coaster, because it starts, it looks like just a pure Western, going to be faithful to Western. And then when we see that mine shaft and that colored light, like, it takes a completely different turn, and then continues to turn and turn and turn. So I would assume that was incredibly fun for you to do that.
For sure. I mean, to conceive it is one thing, and then like the practical side of it was also like really fun to figure out how do we do that. And we did almost all the work on location, so faking it was, it was just a lot of freezing cold nights, and you guys can attest to being in that pool in Valley Village and overnight.
That was a pool in Valley Village that
Yeah.
came.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, with the one shot, the first shot is like a CG shot where we see the roof of the cave. But after that, yeah, it's all just close-ups in this lady's pool in her backyard.
I want to add to, and this is, I know this kind of comment is going to be like, well, what do you think about my earlier stuff? But I feel like you really flex your directing muscles in this, because I feel like this is many steps beyond what I've seen before. I mean, this is just incredibly well directed, and honestly, a lot of it is just visually so stunning that I'm just like, holy crap, look what Matt did this time. It's just really great work.
I mean,
Especially the pool, honestly,
Yeah.
just what you pulled off with, I assume your lighting crew was just absolutely amazing.
yeah, I mean, you know, as we all know, it really takes, it's not just my vision, it's not just the work that one person does, it's like, it's everybody on the team. And we had, I think we can all speak to like how much of a crackpot team we had. I mean, it was a really exceptionally talented team of technicians, so, I mean, that's how these things get made, for sure.
And you brought your 3 actors down.
Yeah.
What order did each of them get involved? Can you remember?
Great question. We did
And then
the
have them
call,
talk about their
the-
first impression of the film, of the script.
Yeah, I would love
after
to
you
stop
finish.
talking, so maybe somebody else. I think, I actually think that Aulio, you might have been the first one
Really?
technically. We made the casting call all at the same time,
Yeah.
but I think you were cast first.
Yeah, it was pretty fast.
Because, you know, once you see this man come across your computer screen,
Yeah, but it was tricky. Like, he sent me this long-ass monologue that is not in the movie. However, he has the essence of this really, you know, Western quirky kind of character. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun, man. And he has so many levels that, like, I love the writing. I was like, oh my God, this is so awesome. And at that point, I was just learning to do something, because as him, I moved to California in 2020, in the beginning of the pandemic. Never done self-tape or anything, so it looked really crappy. I have like a $200 cell phone at that time. But I was like, I'm just gonna have fun with it. And he called me like maybe a couple of days later. I said, hey, Aulio, let's do a callback. He threw me a few curveballs, you know what I mean? No, let's do this thing instead of this one. I was like, fucker, I got you. And yeah, man. And then he called me super excited, and I was like, yeah, man, let's do it. And it was an amazing experience. Like, I met them, well, I never met her actually, because her
Till
scenes, we were never together. So we met in the first premiere. But with Jay, I met her mom. We did some, you know, some chemistry, like via Zoom, because I was
Making out.
you know, making out and stuff. But in general, I was really impressed with the whole team, like the whole crew. Everyone was like, I know it's cliche, but it felt like kind of like a family, you know. And it was great. It was great.
Who'd you find next?
What's that?
Who'd you find next?
They were quite near the same time.
All right, well, then they can
Yeah,
take turns.
Yeah, it was, speaking to Aulio's point, it was a great casting experience because it wasn't the copy or the script that Matt, and you can tell, at first I was like, what the fuck is he doing? What is he saying here? But it was it was a Cormac McCarthy, monologue from No Country for Old, No Country for Old Men, and, which I love, huge Cormac McCarthy fan, and, so I was happy to do that. But then when I was like, well, this is interesting. And then we got the script. I was like, wow, there's so many layers to it. As an actor, you just want to like really dive in and explore every avenue. There's a very serious undertone we talked about, like making bad decisions and the right thing, and then also some comedy and yeah, it was really fun. I was super happy to be a part of this team.
You did a great job.
I mean, amazing.
And it was freezing in that pool, so.
I was super shy, you know, doing intimacy scene with you. It was my first intimacy scene, and honestly, I'm in movies since 17 years old in other country, but this is one of my first experiences here in the United States. It was really professional, really cool. Matthew, great idea. I mean, honestly, it's about all human beings, in my opinion. How hard for us to tell ourselves that if we do something wrong in our lives, to be truthful, to be honest, I'm meaning, and say to yourself, yeah, I did something wrong. I killed that person. I was wrong. But no, we like exploring the character of Jay, how he, you know, trying to find the way to tell himself that he's not wrong, he's right. So, it's really common to all human beings when we do something bad, we're trying to explain ourselves. And it's really interesting field to explore, in my opinion. So it's a wonderful movie. It's really stylish. I mean, for it, in my opinion, the best directors in the world, they have their own style, and you got it, Matthew. Yeah. So I wish you best of luck in future movies, and hopefully you grow bigger and bigger. You never know in this industry. I mean, so hopefully next year
I don't think
will
it
be
gets bigger
something.
than this, I think.
Yeah, thank you so much for this experience. Thank you guys for watching. It's really, really, I really appreciate it. It's like, you know, a little dream, but it's, I mean, they come true. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
All right, well, I have a funny question. This is me trying to figure the whole film out after seeing it many, many times. Is the entire thing like what goes on in his brain as he's bleeding out?
I would put that question to the audience, but,
Anyone wanna say, no, you're completely wrong, Mother Scratcher? Or you're completely right, Scratcher of Mothers? Anyone? Start thinking of questions.
in my mind, yes, it's about a guy who's trying to, as Natalia just put, basically be talked into in his own head that maybe I wasn't in the wrong, which to a degree, I mean, maybe I'm about to reveal my deepest, darkest secret here, but, when I do something that I'm embarrassed by, it's a tough thing to admit that to yourself. Like, it kind of can be a journey, depending on the nature of your offense, and I've never killed anyone, to be clear. But sometimes you just say something out of turn, or, you just do something stupid in the day, and when you're falling asleep, you're playing that moment again and again in your head about what would I have said differently, and all those things. And sometimes it's really tempting to be like, you know what, maybe I wasn't as much of an idiot as I definitely was, and maybe no one else saw it that way, or maybe actually I was motivated to say that stupid thing because the other guy was stupid, And we all go through some version of that, I think, on a pretty regular basis. So yes, in my head, it does feel like it's his journey to come around to convincing himself maybe he wasn't in the wrong in doing this, but in the end, I think we learned that it was too late to to be having that conversation, because you did. You did.
Absolutely, and you said you wrote it after moving out here.
Yeah.
And how long did it take you? Did you have to wait for things to calm down and then shoot it, or did you do it with COVID?
Oh, with
protocols?
COVID? No, I we were clear of the worst of that. Yeah. When I think when did we shoot it, Rick? Was it 2023?
Yeah,
23. So yeah, we were out of the woods.
Yeah, we're all vaccinated.
Yes.
Oh, can I share something? Like, for me, one of the biggest blessings of this project was see how refreshing it was to work with a director that was so open to everyone's ideas. Like, Lucas, that my character was not supposed to be like me. Like, it was not my ethnicity, like he had no Spanish. And then when he saw my audition, he literally called me and told me, Aulio, like, let's rewrite the character and add these things that you're bringing to the table. And that was, like, I was so surprised by it. And then even on set, like, there were things that were happening on set while we were shooting, and we were discovering more layers and more depth into the story. And then, like, seeing it like this, like in the big screen, it was, the first time was amazing, and now even better. So thank you, Matthew.
Yeah, I would second that. Like, it's often when you, it sounds like I'm kissing Matt's ass right now.
I paid them all.
Often when you work with directors that are directors, they have a past as an actor in some capacity, but you don't. So it's just
I
like
do, actually.
What's that?
I do, actually.
Oh, fuck me. I did wrong. Anyway, so it really makes a huge difference. I'm sure some actors in this room here, but it's such a big difference between an actor's director versus a director who's like a little myopic and not as willing to take chances or listen or be open to others' point to suggestions. So, bravo.
Yeah, just to put a button on that, I actually think it's a really, really important thing, because I think often you look at your technical team and you say, well, we have a plan going into the shoot, and then the world happens, and sometimes you got to adapt, and often you have to adapt to that plan, or the light's hitting it in a different way than it did in your head, so you make a change in the moment. But I think a lot of times that directors maybe look at actors as too fixed, like, just say the words, and with so much other shit going on that that I need my brain for, so just please try to stay in this lane, and we'll make the day. Which to a degree obviously is true, but, we're talking about discovery and making sure that a thing breathes and feels like it was made by human beings and not just like a blueprint that people followed. So I think it's very important and contributes to the success of any piece, if it can be a true collaboration really on all fronts.
People have any questions? I have a question about, Hayden, an alumni.
Hi guys. I asked this as somebody that came in late and saw the end, and sort of to Jeff's question a little bit, is there a deliberate ambiguity as far as the sort of, was it real or was it a final, scene, like a sort of like Total Recall a little bit, in that sense, or are you being like deliberately leaving that open, or is there a right answer in your mind?
I think I would say I intentionally was like, let me make this confusing so that people walk away being like, what just happened, But I do think that the style of it is a reflection of the way that, if we can all imagine that moment when you're falling asleep and trying to rewrite that stupid thing that you said earlier today. It kind of feels like that. It never feels neat. It never feels like a totally tidy thing. Your memory is not reliable. And so it feels like my experience with the piece, watching it now and creating it too, is that it's trying to emulate that feeling of kind of like, I think that feels neat, but maybe not fully. And I don't know that I need it or will ever be able to earn it being like a neat and tidy answer. It just kind of is, But I don't know, I of course I want people to have their own experience with it, and I wouldn't say there is a right or wrong way to interpret it.
Sure.
Right here.
Your film has some social commentary, especially casting him, and I couldn't help thinking of it being the older woman at the very beginning being a Western Karen. She's a Karen.
Yeah.
Really was.
Yes, yeah.
And so
The character
was that
was written as black, and this is what Aulio was talking about, is that it was written because that's an all too common, we read this in the news all the time.
Yeah.
And it's trying to make that statement for sure.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yeah,
Wasn't
yeah.
intentional.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, yes, and like I was talking about the police training thing, this was
Right.
the inherent bias in policing is often based on race, but it's not always that. It can be socioeconomic status, it can be so many things.
Right.
And it's such an interesting thing that we're all baked in to a degree with some kind, it's how we were raised, or it's what we observed when we were children, or who knows what it was. It's in there somewhere, and you really can't rewire it. All you can really do is acknowledge it and try to be better, and then try to rise above it, But in this case, I wouldn't say we're making a statement about like, here's how you be better. I don't think we're really doing that.
Right.
I think we're just kind of illustrating, like, I don't think anybody's looking at the calling the cops on your neighbor just because they're a person of color as a good thing. I think everyone can acknowledge that, like, okay, we should be better than this.
Great job.
Right up there.
I have a question. Westerns are such like a self-serious genre, and this film explores like a really serious subject in the form of police bias, but with very comedic themes. How in like the writing process and production process did you toe the line between like exploring serious themes but incorporating comedy and keeping it light for the viewer?
A great question, and did we achieve it? Because I feel like it was such a tug of war, right? Where it's like you never really know. You got to earn the comedy, and this is actually to me, if I'm being fully transparent, I don't know that we fully stick the landing on the tone shift, because I do think that while it's intentional, that it does kind of draw out at the beginning, and it's taking its time, and it's really breathing, and it's being its own kind of, we're luring you into the trap of, it's still Western, and it's kind of a thrillery thing, or whatever, and then, whoops, surprise, it's not that. And, we wanted to have that pivot, but then there are things we had to build in later, and some of it was edit-driven, where, like, for example, in the very first shot, she, like, hawks a loogie and spits there, and there's, like, a bell that goes off in the sound design, right? That is stuff that we talked about, like, well, we need to plant something that's not like a laugh out loud yuck, but we need to give people permission to be like, this isn't gonna be, everything it's selling itself to be in this moment. You have to have permission to evolve, really. And so tonally, we just had to plant these tiny little seeds that we hoped would blossom. And then, like, we also, the line when Jay walks into the water and he's like, hey, you know, you just like, hey. That's, we added, you know, pickup, you know, because that, the moment wasn't, it was too serious there. And we needed a moment that was like, yeah, what's the thing you would do when you like sidle up to the cute girl at the bar? You would be like, so, you know, so that's sort of, that's just, yeah, it's just kind of planting little things to, yeah, I would say give permission, that's the word we used a lot.
You also had a very big fake poop budget. I mean, there was a lot of fake poop.
Brownie mix, a lot of brownie mix.
A lot?
Yeah.
Brown, oh, tasty.
Hey, it's not a question, but just for Matthew, I wanted to say thank you for using that 60s, 70s opening title, retro style.
Thank you for acknowledging
I
that.
love that, and now seeing the poster, thank you again. You know, retro really is great, and fortunately, it's not overused right now, so you got it just at the right time, so, thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
I have a siren question, actually, from another juror, which is, well, or for Matthew.
Get your hands off.
Is the question, or the question is, everyone has noticed that there's scales and the hint of gills. So is there a bit of a mermaid vibe to the siren?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just kind of took from Greek myth really to a degree, and that's like this aquatic being, and I think, you know, in Greek myth, it's often portrayed as like a mermaid or something like that, so, yeah. What is she under the water? Does she have a little fishtail? Maybe, I don't know, but it was purely, by the way, that wasn't I don't think I even gave that direction to the makeup artist, Sam Koda, she just kind of invented it. And yeah, she actually, I think didn't she have a really crazy, a whole bunch of things she wanted to do to you, which in that time, like all these scales, like the scales were meant to be like kind of all over. But we had the location for 10 hours in and out, and it was an overnight, and we all showed up exhausted anyway, so, yeah.
And then my other one was the way that you manipulated the voice in post for the siren. Was that something you had in mind from the beginning, or did you discover it through lots of
Yeah, in my feature Crinkle Time, which played a couple years ago, we did a similar effect with a ghost character. And I've just always loved that effect where it's like, it's the spoken line, and then you do like a deeper delivery of the exact same line, and then you do a whisper version of it, and you skip like every fifth word. So you can kind of drag out those whispers a little bit. And then when you layer them all together, you get this really ethereal, kind of crazy sounding thing. And that, I mean, it's a cool story that is a practical, you know, like a production related thing, is that Natalia was actually in Moscow when we did all the ADR for this. And so we did it I was like on FaceTime and like with the engineer in Moscow, and there was a lot going on. And to pull it off was quite a challenge, but it worked out pretty well.
I saw that in your credits, ADR Moscow, and I thought,
Yeah.
international production.
Exactly.
Right. Was there another hand? No more hands? Well, bravo. Keep working. Have you made something since?
Yeah, we got another film that we just finished that's like a fight film that we did in like a virtual production environment, which I'm working a lot in right now. So yeah, you'll see it at some point.
Excellent. Well, congrats.
Thank
Congrats
you.
to all
Thank
four
you.
of you.
And thank you all
It's
for
great
being
to
here
see
tonight.
an audience.